What's up everybody, Camro here, and welcome to part 52 of my How to Make a Pokemon Game tutorial series. In this episode, we are going to be looking at the Pokegear and phone calls. First, we're going to look at how to give the player the Pokegear, and we're also going to look at how to take it away. And then after that, we're going to look at all of the features that the Pokegear has. By default, the Pokegear has three features: the phone, the map, and the Jukebox, and we're going to look at all three of them. We're going to look at how to add NPCs as contacts in your phone's list, as well as how to add trainers that you can rematch in your phone list. And then we're going to look at how to customize the Jukebox a little bit so you can add your own new music to the game and have players choose to play it whenever they want. With that said, let's get into it. So the very first thing that you need to do in order to access the Pokegear is call a special command in an event. So what I've made right here is a little guy, and this is the command that we want to use. It is $trainer.pokegear equals true. If you set this to equals false, that will take away your Pokegear. So what I've got here is he talks to you, and then it calls the script command. And if you're unsure about how to call script commands, just right click, do insert, go to the third page, and down here in the very bottom where it says script, now you can type in anything you want. So this would be where you type in $trainer.pokegear equals true. Ta-da! And if you want to take it away, then you would set it to false. Also make sure, I believe this T has to be a capital, so yeah, trainer.pokegear equals true. This will give you the Pokegear. What I've made over here is a rude guy who will take your Pokegear away, equals false. I hate that guy. Get him out here. I'm gonna put him in the trees now. Actually, no, I'll keep him here. He's alright. Cool. So, let's start a new game, and let's get ourselves a Pokegear. So I've made it so that way when you start a new game, it just takes you here to this default map. And here's our little guy. Let's talk to him. He says, here, have a Pokegear. You got a Pokegear. Oh, I love Pokegears. You can use that to access the map, listen to the radio, or call people. Well, let's see if what he says is true. So, you'll see that there is one option here that is missing. That option is the phone, and that option does not appear in the Pokegear menu if you don't have any phone numbers, any people to call. But right now from here we can access the map, and the map is really easy. You just select it, bada boom, pulls up the map. If you're unsure about how the map works, I have another tutorial already describing it, and this is based on your map's current metadata and stuff, so I've just gone and plugged this into like the default essentials map. Yeah, that one's really basic. We're not really gonna do anything else to discuss the map. Oh, I keep bumping my mic, I'm sorry. And then there's the Jukebox. This is really cool. In here you can play music, and I'm gonna show you how to add new music later. But down here, there's a custom option that you can select that allows you to just play any song that is in your BGM folder. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. But let's take a look at how to do some phone calls, shall we? So, what I've got here are two events. This one on the right is Professor Oak, and he is not a trainer that you will battle. He's somebody that you can call and talk to. And this guy on the left is a camper named Jeff, who is a trainer that you can battle. You can register him, you can call him and talk to him about his top percentage Rattata or whatever, and then he can call you and request a rematch. And then after he calls you and requests a rematch, then you can show up back on this route and battle him, and you can battle a leveled up version of his team. So, let's add Professor Oak. Okay. This is just like the Professor Oak event that I copied from the Pokemon Lab. I'll break it down for you in a little bit, but first, a little demonstration. I register Professor Oak. Cool. So, normally, you're not supposed to be able to call him when you're standing on the same map as him, but since we haven't set it up properly yet, I can still do that. I'm going to show you how to set it up properly in just a little bit, but cool. We've registered Professor Oak in our phone. We can pull up the phone, and there he is. There's that little man. Let's call him. Professor Oak, it's me. Hello, this is Professor Oak. Hello, Red. I love you. How's your Pokedex coming along? It's coming along pretty good. It's going alright. Anyway, I'm going to close this now, because I don't need him to evaluate my Pokedex. In fact, I haven't really caught even any Pokemon. That was a new game. So, let's take a look at how that one was set up, and how we can set it up to work properly for our game. So, let's go into the event. Right here, he's just got one page. There he is, our little Professor Oak. And here is the thing that we care about the most. I mean, I guess one thing that we care about is above this conditional branch, script trainer.pokegear. Essentially, this is checking to see if I have a Pokegear. if I do not have a Pokegear, there is no reason for him to request to register in my phone because I don't have a Pokegear. So it should only do this chunk if you have a Pokegear, which I did. If you don't have a Pokegear, he'll just say, hey, you should battle. And then that's it. So we got ourselves a Pokegear. Now we're allowed to... I mean, he shows the choice. That's what I'm trying to say. Sorry, I'm fumbling on my words. Show choices, yes or no. Do you want me to register? Yes or no. If you select yes, then it will call this script command. PB phone register NPC. Also, while I'm here, let me show you a little cool trick. If you go into your folder and you run extend text while a text window is open, boom. Now I minimize this. Wow. Now take a look at that. It's so much nicer. Now it's not like auto like filling down into like the next line. Now it's just this one line. Makes it a lot easier to edit these texts and look at them and just do that. It's better. Okay, so anyway, this is the command. PB phone register NPC. As you can probably infer, this is how you register an NPC into your phone. And then there are 3 fields here. The first field is the ID of the NPC. And this is important to take into consideration right away because this determines the image that is used for the NPC when you look at them in the phone, as well as this determines the common event that is called when you call them. So, if this was number 2, when I call Professor Oak, it would call common event number 2. And as a refresher, let me close this, common events can be found up here in the top in your database. Boink. And then along all these tabs, you don't really need to worry about most of these because a lot of these are just RPG Maker stuff, but right here, common events. Common event number 1 is the one that is called when you call Professor Oak on the phone. Number 2 is one that we're using for a follow partner one, so if we wanted to make a new NPC, we'd probably want to start at number 3 here. But yeah, when you call Professor Oak, he talks to you. If your map ID is map 4, which is the Pokemon lab, then he'll say, hey, I can see you, let's just talk in person, and then it'll end the call. But otherwise, he'll do all this stuff. If you wanted to make your own NPC that you could call and have like a more complex event, here's where you would do it. So, since our tutorial map, I think that shows up in the recording there, is number 87, let's change it so that way instead of checking to see if it's map 4, let's see, map 87, there we go. So if we call Professor Oak while we're standing on this tutorial map, he'll say, hey, I see you, I'm on the same map as you. And if we're not on that map, then we'll actually get a real call going. Cool. So, common event 1 is called, and then the second one, very obviously, is the name. He's Professor Oak. Short and simple, pretty easy. And then this one is the map that he's on. So, we're going to change this to 87 as well. The reason that we give them the map that he's on is because it displays the map that he is currently standing in underneath, like at the bottom of the phone call page. So here we go. Now we've got our Professor Oak 1, Professor Oak 87, bada boom. So now if we run our game, let's save our changes. Alrighty, new game. Let's talk to the Mr. Man and get a Pokegear again. Thank you very much. I love this Pokegear. I'm gonna eat it. I'm just kidding. I'm gonna use it to call Professor Oak. You should battle with your Pokemon. Yeah, sure. If you register me in your Pokegear, you can call me at any time to rate your Pokedex. Okay, sure. And I registered him. I love you, Professor Oak. Alright, now let's go into our Pokegear. Let's take a look at our phone. There it is. So the name of the map that I'm on is Tutorial Map 2, just because I named it Tutorial Map 2. If I change the name of the map, then that will also change the name that appears here in the phone call screen. But, as you can see, Professor Oak. Hit enter, and he's gonna say, hey, I can see you. We're standing on the same map. Come over here and talk to me. Click. Dang it, Professor Oak. You're so right. I'm gonna use debug to walk around this guy. Actually, I think I can walk down here. Cool. This guy's vision isn't the best. I made another map here called Tutorial Map 1. Now, if I pull up my phone, and I call good old Professor Oak, he's standing in Tutorial Map 2. I'm in Tutorial Map 1. Let's give him a call. Hey, this is Professor Oak. Oh, hey. Do you want me to rate your Pokedex? Sure. Nah, I'm just kidding. No. Cool. So it works. It works. Let me tell you, it just works. So that's how you register an NPC. Pretty simple. If we wanted to make our own NPC, like let's say we wanted to like call Brock or something, like to rematch a gym leader, what we'd want to do is take this, boop, go to Brock. He is in the... Where am I? Am I blind? Nah, I'm not blind. So basically after we fight him, we'd want to have some sort of thing where you can talk to him and then change a switch. So like, oh, this is 3 Brock, and then his current map is 10. And then we'd want to make it so that way in common event 3, we would just want to call this Brock call. Let's see, do I have to do anything for that? No, I don't. Cool. And then from in here, this would be the logic that you use to like set the event. So if you want, you can make it so that way later in the game it sets a switch. After you set that switch, then Brock can be fought again. And yeah, so I'm not going to go too deep into that right now. That's something that is complex enough to where it could potentially be its own type of video if we wanted to like do it properly. So yeah, I'm just going to give you a little brief look at how you would do it. So yeah, let your imagination wander. Just mess around with this stuff. Mess around with common events, mess around with phone calls. And we're not even done looking at phone calls yet, because we still have trainer phone calls to go into. These ones are a lot more complex. The reason I took so long making this tutorial is because I was going through all the different possible like edge cases of creating a trainer phone call, because I didn't want the game to crash, and there's a whole lot of weird stuff going on here. Anyway, what I've done here is I have gone to Route 3 in the default essentials maps, and I've clicked on this guy right here. This is Camper Jeff, and he is a very good example of a trainer that registers you in his phone and then calls you later. So I copied him, pasted him over into my map, and now we're going to break it down. So here is Camper Jeff. You'll notice immediately that he's got all of these comments here, and these are very, very important. A lot of the basic essentials trainers will use these comments, and you can use them to like edit the info of your trainer, so that way when the game compiles, it just updates these events. So for example, it says Camper Jeff. If in this comment I changed it to say like Bug Catcher, then it would autofill all instances of Camper to Bug Catcher, because like it's just really smart when you compile. So like what I've been doing is editing that, saving, closing the game, reopening it, and then my event has been updated. So it's very cool. He's got 2 battle comments. The first battle comment is when you first fight him. The second battle comment is when you rematch him. The same thing goes for end speech, first fight versus rematch, end battle, first fight and rematch, and then reg speech. This is what he says when he wants to register you in his phone. So I guess I could just give a little example right now. One thing that's really important, though, right now to notice is this number here. This number 2 is also reflected here. 2, 2. This is the number of times that you can rematch him. The number of times that you can rematch him is dependent on how many of these comments you have. So, for example, if I go like this, now I have 3 battle. That means now I can rematch him 3 times. Or I believe that's what it means. It's either you can rematch him 3 times, or you can battle him the first time and then have 2 rematches. Okay, so to clarify, this number is the total number of times that you can battle this trainer. So if we have 1 initial battle and then 2 rematch comments, then this number will equal 3. If the number is 3, then you can only rematch the trainer twice, because then there's also the first battle. Hopefully that makes sense. This number will update automatically depending on how many battle comments that we have. If you change these, then it will use, like, let's have a 3rd rematch, and then he'll say, let's have a 4th rematch. Oh, and I spelled it wrong. That's the correct form of 4th somewhere, but not here. Anyway, so if you have a 3rd battle comment and you don't have a 3rd end speech and don't have a 3rd end battle, then it'll just use the like furthest end battle that it can, if that makes any sense. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we have 1, 2. If you're on battle 3, then it'll just use 2. I guess that makes sense. Hopefully that does to you. Anyway, now let's get into the nitty-gritty of it and just explain how to set up this event, and then we'll set up our own event together, so hopefully it'll make even more sense. If this is confusing at all, please let me know, but I'm going to break it down the most that I can so that way we can all make trainers that call us, because we all love to be called by trainers who have Rattatas that have leveled up. Makes sense. So, what we've got here is Camper Jeff. We're going to make him rematch us 4 times. No, there will be 3 rematches. Sorry, I have to update this a little bit because this is the second rematch. This is rematch 1, rematch 2, and this is rematch 3. So there's the first battle, then a rematch, then a second rematch, and then a third rematch. That's a lot of battling Jeff. Cool. So the way that this works is it is dependent on trainer forms. Trainer forms can be defined in the trainers.pbs. So if you go into your game folder and go into PBS and scroll all the way down to trainers, and then you open that up in a text editor, what we've got here is Camper Jeff. So this one right here is Jeff with nothing after it. So this is the very first battle. This is his default Jeff. This is Jeff in his basic form, not his final form, you know, not Frieza. And then Jeff, 1, that is the second Jeff. So we need to have 2 more Jeffs. We need to up our Jeff levels here. Copy paste, copy paste. There we go. So this is the first Jeff. This is the second Jeff. This is the third Jeff. And this is the 4th Jeff. So Jeff can get even stronger. Let's make it so that way on the first rematch. Let's lower these levels a little bit. There we go. So he's got a Spearow and a Sentret, then he's got a Fearow and a Furret, and then he's got a friggin' I don't know, a Dragonite and an Alakazam. See, this is where your creativity comes in. You can really make them do whatever they want when you battle them. You can make it so that way the trainer changes different types, where he's like, hey, let's rematch. I ditched those stupid bug types and now I've got psychic types, you know? If you want to do something like that, you could. And then for his final form, he's got a friggin' Blastoise and a Weedle. There you go. As you can see, he's clearly improved. He's gotten a lot stronger since. Dragonite and Alakazam? Psh, no. Weedle? Yes. Alright, so here we go. In the very first battle with Jeff, he'll have a Spearow and a Sentret. Then he'll have a Fearow and a Furret. Then he'll have a Dragonite and an Alakazam. Then he'll have a Blastoise and a Weedle. What a great team. If we wanted to, we can make this 3. So that way he would have a Drowsy. That's level 40 as well. One thing that's important to note is if we made it so that way there were 3 rematches, so the initial battle and then 3 rematches, but we only had like 2 forms of Jeff, like let's just delete these temporarily, then for all of the other battles with Jeff, they would just use this form. If you haven't defined a higher level form or like a higher number form for the next battle, then it just defaults to the previous one. But we've been good and we've defined some Jeffs here. So let's go back to Jeff. He's got all of his battles. So since there are 4 of these, this number will update to 4 when we compile the game. Well, the way I like to do that is kind of dumb, kind of roundabout. I run the game, and it's processing all of the data right now, processing all the lines, compiling all the messages. Now the game is opened. Sometimes I just like to click new game, whatever. I close it. I close my game. I go back in, go to my Pokemon stuff, run my game. Now let's click on our Jeff. Whoa, see? The number has updated to 4. That was 2 previously. Now it's 4. So if we update this from Camper to, you know, like Cool Trainer, and we change this from Jeff to like Bob, then when we compile, it will update all of the other instances. So this 4, that 4. See, even these got updated to 4, 4, and look, it's like doing all of these conditional branches. It's automatically adding all of this information based on these comments. For the sake of all of this event editing, you shouldn't really ever have to go into page 2 and page 3 and edit them. I'm going to talk about them a little bit, because it is important, but the compiler is super smart and just updates this event for us. So let's take a look at our first event. This is the basic trainer battle. That one's pretty simple. It's just based on all of our comments. Now, for the second event, you'll notice that instead of the standard control switch A is on, this one says B is on. And then for the third page, this says A is on. The reason that they did that is because when a trainer calls you and says that they are ready to battle you again, what that does is in the script, it changes their control switch A to off and their B to on. And then when you beat them, it sets B to off and A to on. So here's the typical way that it will work. When you first encounter the trainer, neither of those switches are on, and you beat them. When you beat them, it sets A to on, and they're set to this third page. This is the page that they're in when they've been defeated and they just talk to you. And from on this page, if you haven't registered them in your phone, you can talk to them again and register them. So whenever you want to register a trainer, it'll give you a choice, yes or no. And if you want, you can just keep saying no and keep talking to him on this page. And then when you do finally register him in your phone, then you're put on a timer where between like 20 to 40 minutes, maybe even an hour, you play the game and then a trainer will call you. And if this trainer calls you, then it sets their B to on. And B on is when they fight you. It also sets A off. And then you fight them, and then it sets A on again. So typically, when you fight a trainer, they'll be on page 1, then they'll jump to page 3, and then when they call you and they're ready to fight, they'll go back to page 2, and then you beat them, and they'll go back to page 3 again. And then they'll just keep bouncing back and forth between 3 and 2, depending on how many times you rematch them. Cool. So, I've done a whole lot of talking here, a whole lot of eventing. Let's actually get in and show it work. Let's make a new game, just because I'm paranoid about my previous save data. Let's talk to this guy and get ourselves a Pokegear again, because we can't register him in our phone if we don't even have a Pokegear. Let's step over Oak, or I guess under Oak, to flex on him. And then let's use debug. Go down to Pokemon, give ourselves a demo party. There we go. Now we've got ourselves a bunch of level 20s. Now we're going to use debug to buff up our Pikachu a little bit. Let's set his level to 90. There we go. Got ourselves a pretty strong Pikachu. Now let's save. Warning, previous save data. Forget about it. I don't even care about that previous save data. I care about this current save data, so I shall overwrite. Now let's fight Jeff. Based on our PBS files, this first fight should be pretty easy. Did I notice you or did you notice me? I think I noticed you first, bud. There we go. It is Jeff. He sends out his Spearow. Very easy. This is the first battle. I'm going to use debug to defeat him. If you're in debug mode and you hold control and select run, treat it as a win. Yes. Take that, Jeff. The power of debug compels you. Shall we exchange numbers? Sure. Hey, Jeff's in my Pokegear now. Cool. Let's take a look at our phone. Hey, it's Jeff. And he's on Tutorial Map 2. I know Tutorial Map 2. I've been there. Let's talk to him. Oh, he's close by. Let's talk to him in person. See, so that automatically takes that into account. When it's defining the phone register event in the compiler, it automatically sets the current map ID, like what event it is, what his name is. So let's go to a different map and let's call him. Jeff, what do you want to talk about today, you handsome man? Good day, Red. Hi, this is Jeff. What's up, Jeff? My Spearow's looking really awesome. Wish I could show you. Hey, he's referencing his Pokemon team. That's pretty cool. Guess what happened the other day? I missed catching Bulbasaur again. So, what this is it is pulling from the current wild Pokemon that are available on his route. Since I just quickly set up the wild Pokemon default to Bulbasaur in the bushes, or in the tall grass. So he references Bulbasaurs. If you change the wild Pokemon on the route, it will change what he says. So if instead you have Pidgeys and Rattatas, then he'll say, I just barely missed catching a Pidgey. It was close. Maybe I'm not very good at this. Oh, that's okay, Jeff. You're good in my heart. Now, let's use the power of debug further. If you press F9 to open up debug again, and go to battle options, I believe, and see this bottom here. Well, it's the second from the bottom, but ready all phone rematches. Cha-ching. This automatically queues up all of the phone rematches, so we don't have to wait for him to call us. But if we wanted to, we could still call him and listen to him say his lovely line. It's got a little Pokeball there next to him. It says waiting for a rematch 1. Jeff, do you want to fight me right now, guy? Do you want to fight again? Good day, Red. Hi, this is Jeff. Want a battle? It's not going to be a repeat of last time we met. I'll be waiting for you around the tutorial map too. Click. Okay. You want to fight, Jeff? Let's fight. So those are all lines that are generated in the script. I can show you later, but essentially those are all defined and generated already. So if you want to, you could tweak them, but you don't really have to. All right, here's Jeff. Friggin', I heard he was talking some shit. Jeff? Let's have a rematch. Oh, you want to have a rematch, do you, Jeff? All right, what do you got this time, huh? You got a stronger team now? Oh, God, he's got a Fearow. Oh, I'm screwed. Wait, no, I'm not. I have Debug. Treat it as a win? Yes. You beat me again. That's because you suck, Jeff. Sorry. What do you have to say for yourself? I don't think I'll ever be able to beat you. It's okay, Jeff. Nobody has. Now, let's go and do that again. So he had his team updated from the default team to his second team. Now, if we ready them all up again, he should have his third team, which was a Dragonite and an Alakazam. Jeff, you want to fight? Let's have a second rematch. Okay. See, there it pulled the new dialogue that we set. And there's Dragonite. Oh my God. Oh, it's so scary. Just kidding. I have a debug. You beat me again. Yeah, Jeff, you just keep getting destroyed, don't you? I'll get even stronger and beat you next time. No, you won't. Now, he should have another team if we go and ready the rematches even more. This is great. We're just destroying this poor Jeff. Let's have a 3 rematch. I've destroyed his brain. I've defeated him too many times. He can't form complete sentences anymore. Let's battle 3, me, you. Okay, there he is. He's the Blastoise. There's his next form. Oh yeah, I have to do control. There we go. So, if we, in our event, had another line of dialogue where he says, let's have a 4th rematch, but we didn't define a new trainer in our PBS files, then we would fight him again with his Blastoise and Weedle and Drowsy. His team wouldn't change. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, let's go and make our own. I just want to make it super clear what's going on here, because sometimes this could be a little bit confusing. I don't want it to be confusing. I want it to be straightforward. Let's make a new type of trainer. Let's name him Bug Catcher Doofus. And let's make it so that way you only rematch him once. There's one original battle and then one rematch. And he'll say... Let me just type all this up real quick. Do you beat me? And then he'll say, since I really like Wario, when you beat him again, he'll say, Do I missed? There you go. And he'll just say, oof, let's battle. And then for his next line, he'll say, oof, it's rematch time, yo. Some really quality dialogue here. Cool. So, the way that the compiler works, it is so friggin' smart. Since we've changed this stuff, I guess we can change this real quick also. For the red speech, it needs 2 slashes. Everything else just needs 1 slash. So the /B is to change the color of the text to blue. But for red speech, it requires 2. I'm not entirely certain why, but he'll just say, register me, please. There we go. So the compiler is so smart. When we run our game, save it, close and reopen, then the event will be updated. And instead of saying Camper Jeff 4, it should update every instance of it to Bugcatcher Doofus 2. Now, we need to go and edit our sprite real quick. Where are the Bugcatchers? They shouldn't be too far along. Hey, there we go. He's TR Car 10. There we go. Bug Catcher Doofus. Oh, you're gonna be so good. There we go. Now, let's go into our trainers and define Bug Catcher Doofus real quick. I'm gonna copy Camper Jeff. There we go. So instead of a camper, he is a bug catcher. And his name is Doofus. And this is the default battle. He'll have one Pokemon. And it shall be a Beedrill. Hopefully I spelled that right. Did I spell that right? I'm like uncertain about my spelling of like all the Pokemon nowadays. And when you fight him the second time, he will have two Pokemon, a Beedrill and a Butterfree. And let's make them 25. Cool. So, let's run our game real quick. Bug Catcher Doofus, compiling, processing all the data, processing all of his awesome dialogue. There we go. So, just because I'm paranoid and weird, this is the order of operations that I like to do. Run the game, close it, close this, go back in, open our game up again. Let's take a look at our Bug Catcher Doofus. Holy moly, it updated everything. Isn't that great? Check it out. Bug Catcher Doofus 2. Register me, please. And then we go to all of the other pages. It updates all of the info in them properly to match our comments. That is so amazing, isn't it? Gosh, technology really is great. That fat guy in the starting town was right. Alright, so I can start here, actually. I've got my team. I've got all my Pokemon. I got my Pokegear. And I don't have any phone numbers. Let's get a phone number of a guy named Doofus. Oof, let's battle. Okay, let's battle Doofus. Let's see what his first team is. Oh, it's just one Beedrill? Oh my goodness. I'm gonna destroy you in a real battle now. I'm not even gonna use debug. Check that out. I may have had a little bit of an advantage. Well, whatever, you know. We'll look past that. And he'll say, "Oh, you beat me." Nice. Register me, please. No. If we talk to him again, he'll say, "I'll get even stronger, beat you next time. Register me, please." Okay. I'll call you, Doofus. So, we can't call him because we're on the same map as him. Let's change maps, open our menu, go to the Pokegear, and call him. Doofus, what do you have to say for yourself? What do you got to say, you cool guy? Hey, it's me, Doofus. My Beedrill's looking really awesome. I almost got a Bulbasaur. Cool. Very cool, Doofus. That is nice. And he's on tutorial map 2. Everything looks good. See, it's pulling the proper sprite and everything. Now, let's open up our debug. Debug catcher. Go to battle options. Ready all phone rematches. Alrighty. Now, according to the Pokegear, it's telling me that Doofus is ready for a rematch. Doofus, do you want to fight me again, bro? Oof, it's rematch time, yo. Oh, it's rematch time, alright. What do you got? You got 2 Pokemon now? I'm not afraid. Alright, Beedrill, and his next Pokemon will be Butterfree, but we're just gonna treat this as a win. Yes, we are. Oh, I missed. I love that line of dialogue. There we go, and now we should never refight him again. And if we play through the game naturally, without the use of debug, he will never call us again. If he had a couple more battle quotes in his event, then he would potentially call us again, but he would fight us with the same team, the Beedrill and the Butterfree. So, hopefully that makes sense for phone calls. If you ever have any questions, I will hopefully be able to answer them in a timely manner. I've been so bad about that, I'm sorry you guys. But I will link a page of the Pokemon Essentials wiki in the description that breaks down some of the more nitty-gritty details about phone calls. So, hopefully that helps. Hopefully that all makes sense. It's pretty good. I like it very much. So, I haven't even started talking about the next thing, which is the Jukebox. We want to play some tasty tunes in our game, don't we? Let's go to pscreen_Pokegear. So, from the scripts, I just scrolled basically all the way down here. Pscreen Pokegear, this is where all of the Pokegear stuff gets defined, and this is where they define buttons inside of the Pokegear. If you want, you could theoretically make your own button if you had any menus that you wanted to call, and I'm actually going to briefly talk about that a little bit later in this episode. But essentially all you need to know is there are 3 buttons defined here: Map, Phone, and Jukebox. Map is always available, Jukebox is always available, but in this one right here, If you don't have any phone numbers, then phone doesn't show up. If the number of phone numbers that you have is greater than 0, then it will. Otherwise, yeah. So that is why phone doesn't appear if you don't have any phone numbers. Makes sense. I mean, you got nobody to call, right? And then here is where it defines what happens when you click on the button. What it does is it plays a little sound effect going, ding, hey, you selected me, and then it runs the logic. So for the phone, it runs the phone scene. For the jukebox, it runs, basically, it opens the jukebox screen, and for the map, it just opens the map. The map is super simple, and what you'll see down here for the astute eye is that I have another function called here that opens up the computer screen. So in a little bit, I'm going to show you how you can access the PC from the Pokegear if you want to put that in your game. It's kind of broken. It's very broken. But yeah, if you wanted to, you could theoretically plug in your own buttons into the Pokegear. So let's go and look at the jukebox first real quick. So there's pscreen_Pokegear. You know, there's region map, phone. If you want to see more stuff about the phone, you can scroll and look through this if you want to. And then here's the jukebox. The way that the jukebox works is actually very similar to the way that the Pokegear works. There are a list of buttons that, when pressed, will load specific audio files. If you want, you could make a playlist, like, for example, let's go into our game, go into audio, BGM, and if you wanted to, you can make a folder called playlist and throw songs into this. And the reason that you could do this is because in the jukebox script, the custom option loads a directory. So the way that this works is every audio file of type MP3, OGG, WAV, basically every audio file in the audio BGM folder will appear and be selectable when custom is selected. So once again, oh yeah, let me close this real quick. Once again, let's show off a little demo of that, the way that the jukebox works. Here we are in our game, we're just chilling, we're walking around, and we're listening to some root music. The root music is kind of boring. Let's go into our Pokegear. Let's go into the jukebox. And now what we've got are a couple selections. We could select March. Yeah, this one kind of sucks. Lullaby? A little better, maybe gonna put me to sleep. I don't know if I want that. Oak? These are all MIDI files. They don't sound very good. Let's go to custom and take a look at some of the other MP3 files that we have downloaded. Ice Cave? Not bad. Wait, what's this? Did I really just download Persona music and put it in my folder? Oh, you bet I did. I love Persona music. Cool. Now I can walk around and listen to some tasty tunes. Professor Oak, do you want to talk to me? So this is all playing in the game. Oh, lovely. So, Pokegear, Jukebox, March? Okay, so when using the custom tab, you have to go and select default again, and then these can play. So if you go to custom and play a song, and then go back and try to play one of these, it won't work. You have to go to custom, select default, and then these will work. Really weird. But let's say that we wanted to go and make our own button rather than, or like, let's make a playlist first and then let's make a button. That sounds about right. So if instead of loading that entire folder, we just wanted to load another folder, what this does is it goes to audio, it goes to the folder audio, and then it goes to the folder BGM, and then from in there it goes to the folder playlist and then pulls all of these. Isn't that pretty nice? Now let's run our game. Alrighty, video game. Let's open up that Pokegear again. Jukebox. Custom. Now there's only 2. The reason there are only 2 now appearing is because if we go to our game, there's only 2 that I put in the playlist folder. That's kind of cool, right? If we wanted to, we could take our Persona song, plop it in playlist, and hopefully this plays. I've had some issues before with like the loading times where like the stuff doesn't like play properly. But for the sake of a live demo, hey, they're all in here. Hey, and it plays. Oh yeah. So if you wanted to, you can make your own playlist. And then if you wanted to get really spicy, what you could do is you could copy all the logic of that button and make a new button and have multiple playlists. So you could have Persona music, you could have this music, you could have that music. I say caution though, big red letters caution. if you just start putting a bunch of music into your game, it's going to drastically increase the size of your game folder. Probably, like, audio files are probably the single largest, like, in terms of taking up memory for your game. So if you just start throwing in a ton of songs into your game could be pushing like 500 megabytes to a gigabyte. Don't go crazy with audio. Don't, like, misuse the playlist or the Jukebox feature. It's very cool, but you can't just start throwing in like 100 songs, otherwise your game is going to become massive. And if people want to download it and play it, you know, maybe they don't feel like downloading like a 2 gigabyte game full of just a ton of music. If you want to do that though, I mean, that's your prerogative. So, let's take these existing buttons and just make a new button. So, above custom, let's make a new button called Wake Up, because I also added the Persona 5 song, Wake Up, Get Out There. I really like Persona music, I really gotta tell you. So, let's just copy this, CMD oak equals -1, paste that, and instead of CMD oak, we'll call this CMD Wake Up. There we go. What this is doing is basically defining the starting of the button. This is the list of commands, this is all the possible selectable commands, and Wake Up is now a new command. Now, this is where the button actually appears. Let's copy this CMD oak, and right underneath it, we'll paste, and then CMD oak instead, that's CMD Wake Up. And then this is the text that displays on the button. Gosh, I keep bumping my mic, I'm so sorry. We will call that just Wake Up. Here we go. So we're almost done. We've got the button to appear in our list, but now when you click it, nothing will happen. So let's make it so something happens. I'm gonna copy this CMD oak stuff here. Copy that. Paste. So basically what this is saying is, if you select CMD oak, what is it gonna do? If you select CMD Wake Up, what is it gonna do? I'm replacing both of these instances of oak with Wake Up. And then the BGM that plays, this is where you find the name of your audio file. So, if I go back into my folder, I believe I just called it Wake Up, Get Out There. So I'll just copy the entire name of it, go back into my game, paste that right there, bloop. And then, this makes it so that way, if the white flute and black flute are used, then I believe that it will not play the song, or it'll stop playing the song. Anywho, this should work now. We've added the button. Everything should appear now correctly in our Pokegear. Let's open that up. Let's go to our Jukebox. Now there's a new button here. Oh, see, that's my jam. They're playing my jams here now. Oh yeah. Now you can just run left and right. You can go crazy in your game. And if we want to, we could change it. But first I just want to let this go a little bit. I mean, I really like this song. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. That's enough. Cool. So, hopefully that gave you some ideas for how you can mess around with the Jukebox your own. So if you wanted to, you could like do the same button copy strategy, but then instead you could copy the logic for custom and then make your own playlist if you want to do stuff like that. So yeah, if you want to, you can mess around with the Jukebox. Hell, I mean, if you hate these songs, you could even just delete those buttons or replace them with something else. You could replace March with Beneath the Mask, or, you know, any other sort of song that you download, if you want to. So that would be how you customize the Jukebox in your game. Cool. So the other thing that I said I was going to do before I end this video is I'm going to talk about how to add a new button to the Pokegear. So the Pokegear is pretty cool. It's pretty nice. And I like the way that it gives you access to certain things just from your person without having to go into the bag. I kind of like that. It's like an interesting kind of sleek interface. So, what would we do if we wanted to add a new feature to that? There's Map, Phone, Jukebox. What if we wanted to add a new one called PC, where you could access the PC from anywhere? What you would do is this. You would go right here. You see this is going to be very similar to what we did with the Jukebox. The way that this is going to work is we're going to copy all of the logic for defining a button, and then copy the logic for defining what happens when the button is pressed. Same as the Jukebox. So, let's copy this Jukebox call right here. Actually, I mean, we're going to base it basically based off of the map. That was the weirdest sentence I've ever said in my life. Base it basically based off. Anyway, let's call this CMD PC. And then let's copy this jukebox call here. Oh gosh, that wasn't what I wanted to do. I deleted the whole thing. What I want to do is copy the whole thing and then paste it right down here. So CMD PC, and we'll just call this PC. Well, actually, for some reason those are both lowercase and then this is upper, but I'll just call this PC as well. Whatever, lowercase, uppercase, PC. This is the button that will appear now in our list. And then, since the map is the simplest one, I'm gonna copy that, go down here. Actually, no, what I need to do is go down here. So the way that these work is, this one is just calling PB show map, so we're just gonna call PB Poke Center PC. So essentially, when you select the PC option, it's just gonna load up the PC. It's gonna look super, like, not polished and not super amazing, but functionally it'll work. Now, let's just run it. Let's just run it. Let's see, did I press? There we go. Pokegear. Now there's a PC option in here. What does that do? Press it, and it's just like loading up a PC. What do you want to do? I'll just go to my PC, I guess. I don't know. Organize boxes, deposit Pokemon? Sure, screw it. Yeah. There we go. So it's just like you're using the PC. And then you can go back. Bada boom. So it's not the most gracious, but it works. That is what you would do if you wanted to add your own new buttons to the Pokegear. You would take the existing buttons and then modify the functionality. So this is really just the this is like the script method that opens the PC. If you wanted to, you could find script calls for other things in the game and just call them from inside the Pokegear. And if you wanted it to look a little bit better, what you would want to do is go back into your game folder, go to graphics, pictures, Pokegears there, and then here would be where you, oh, that's why it's all lowercase. This is the name of the, okay. So here would be where you define the icon of the PC. So instead of icon phone, that would just say icon PC. And then here you would want to modify it so it looks more like a computer. I'm not going to go through the work of like editing that right now. Also, one thing that's interesting to note is if you have a male trainer versus a female trainer, it changes the background of the Pokegear. So if you want to customize your background and customize your buttons, then these will be the files that you want to edit. These are the ones that you see. So anyway, now when we play our game, there should be a little icon next to our PC. Hey, there we go. I mean, it doesn't look like a PC, but you know, it's a work in progress. All of this is a work in progress. So we can access our jukebox, we can access our map, we can access our PC. And the way that it works, like for the logic, it's really smart. If you add more buttons, it'll accommodate them. So now we have a phone number there, so now there's 4 buttons in the list. Wow, look at that. If you wanted to, you could add 6 buttons. I haven't tried messing around with adding like 10 buttons, but I'm sure that it would look okay, right? Maybe it would be like a scrolling list. Anyway, hopefully that helps. Hopefully this episode made a lot of sense to you. It's been a long one. I appreciate you very much for watching, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on Discord. I do want to start streaming again sometime. I've been thinking about it. I have a lot more free time now. I have a new job. I moved up to LA. It's been kind of crazy, man. I also made an Instagram, so please follow me on that if you want to see me making stupid faces and pointing pictures at like the beach and eating food and stuff with my friends. It's just gonna be me goofing around, really. But yeah, so follow me on Twitch, follow me on Instagram, reach out to me on Discord if you got any questions. And I do want to make a couple more tutorials. I got a couple plans going on here, and I appreciate you guys for being patient. Thank you so much. Hopefully this episode taught you a lot of things about the Pokegear. Hopefully people will start using the Pokegear more in their own fan games, because I think it's a really cool tool. I really like it, and I really like the concept of trainer rebattles. I mean, the youngster Joey Rattata one became a meme for a long time, so if you guys wanted to incorporate that into your own game, that'd be pretty cool. Once again, I appreciate you so much for watching. Hopefully this teaches you everything you need to know. And I'll see you guys next time.